Yes, good morning and welcome. This is indeed Power Breakfast right here on Citizen TV, and it's that time when you take a look at the headlines. This morning we have Senators Hassan Omar and Kimani Wamatangi from Mombasa and Kiambu respectively. We're still hoping to have other gentlemen join us later, but let's start with you two gentlemen. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's good to see you.
Happy New Year, man. It's been a good break.
Yes.
I believe so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. A good year. And we've started...
it's a hopeful year.
Yeah.
It's election year. And election years have very, very strange, unique dynamics.
Yes.
And Kenyans must now be on the red alert. People are going to say all kinds of things, make all kinds of insinuations. But it's also a year where there's a higher crescendo about it. You know, people think, oh, why didn't you say this for 4 years? It's not true. Election years world over have different dynamics. In fact, you find people even now coming in. You know, you get people calling you saying, I have this document, I have that document, I have this document.
Because it's an election year.
It's an election year, they know that. Once you put it out there, Kenyans are listening.
Yes.
There's a time when Fred's and the Mullah's ears are wide open. Wamatangi's level of astuteness and you know
it means even the debates will be much more.
Yes, at that point in time, every crescendo goes much higher. Yes. And it's very normal. Don't look at, within 3-4 months we knew more about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton than we probably knew in their lifetimes. That's just the kind of well, that's what politics is about.
Less than 7 months to the elections. How do you feel? Positive?
Well, definitely I feel very positive, but also to say that this year expect a lot of politics. You'll also see a lot of
understandably, of course.
He also expects to see new directions, and you know, in politicians. Maybe you're not going to be having us here for very long. Because people are going to be hitting ground.
But in terms of the level of politics,
I can assure you one thing. I'll make time to come for this program every week, even if the political season is high. For a politician, a forum of 1 hour, my brother. say they as they may. You know, people just keep telling you, oh, you see on TV, we see this. You're just not on TV.
Yes.
Citizen TV just doesn't invite anybody. They know that you can sustain a certain engagement and level of debate. They are confident of part of your, you know, or maybe your knowledge base or your proximity to information.
And we definitely look forward to hosting you gentlemen, even as we move towards the election. Now, of course, the top headline this
Before
morning...
you go there, I wanted to really just you know, pay my respects.
Yeah, and that's the opportunity I want to give you, because of course the biggest story was about what was happening at Bomas of Kenya, but you missed out, but for a good reason.
Yeah, you know the late Tariq Sheikh Said, TSS, famously known as, was a leader in his own right in Mombasa. You know, you could be wealthy, but it was manifest in the turnout. I have never been in a funeral that had pulled that level of turnout ever in my lifetime.
I was told Mombasa came to a standstill.
Absolutely. I was told by an elder that the only other time he had seen that type of funeral or that level of attendance was at the funeral of Sheikh Break. Sheikh Break was a prominent scholar in Mombasa. Some years, when I think because I don't believe he was born when I was too young, or was buried when I was too young, or maybe unable to remember. But this, you know, it was manifest. And you know, like I was joking with somebody. Today we were supposed to have a PG at Wiper. Kalonzo Musyoka and the part of the leadership put it off because there's a burial of a paramount chief in Machakos. So for us, for me, or for us in Mombasa, TSS, it's not just about his wealth. He was like a paramount chief in his own right. He had a domineering figure. He was kind, he was gentle, he was philanthropic. In fact, for me, what is personal is the fact that not a single time did I invite him for anything that touched me personally. That he never attended, from my wedding to my functions to anything that I asked him. When I called him up and I said I want to meet him, he will call me, he will say, come to my office in the next hour, in the next 20 minutes. He was so available for me, and I thought for my sake and for the respect, maybe in a joking way, my friend summed it up. TSS is only going to die once. So please, go bury him. We will then take care of NASA.
Okay.
And I was there in spirit. Immediately I left the funeral, I watched the entire proceedings live on TV.
Nonetheless, whatever happened at Bomas has made it to the front pages of the dailies this morning.
Definitely has something
and yes, we're going to discuss that in a short while.
I could offer my condolences to the family of TSS. Actually, I came to know this man quite some years back. He was outstandingly entrepreneuring because everywhere you went in the entire coastal region, if you mention TSS, everybody knows who you're talking about. But sadly, just even before he passed on, he joined, or his family joined the rank and file of many families who immediately go into wrangling about wealth.
Yes.
When the entrepreneur himself, the founder himself, and you've seen this in so many families.
Yes.
And this is sad for me, when I look at it, because I ask myself, our young people, our sons and daughters, once they see a father like TSS, like the late Jenga Karume, like so many others in this country, Kerema, who have sacrificed their lives to work hard, invest, apply their mind to build businesses, enterprise, and employment for many people, and of course offering the advancement they have. What goes on, in the minds of our children? What should we do differently to make sure that that there's continuity? I was reading some histories of some famous big world investments. Any name you mention, J.W. Marriott, Hewlett Packard. I mean, you hear people who set up their enterprises 200 years ago, and today they're still running on a formal format and expanded globally. So I think I want to say we need to do a lot. I think we need to change the edict in our mind about that, as far as that's concerned. But my condolences to the family. I missed. I didn't see Senator Hassan Omar, so I also followed what was going on in Bomas. So I'm sure we will discuss. I'm sure we are going to discuss it. But
on that point,
he was notably absent.
I realize my absence in this forums creates a vacuum. But I want to join Mamatang in terms of saying that families must never wrangle over wealth. They must always remember that their father, they must embody the spirit of their father. And in fact, my prayer is that they're able to get things right. Number two is the fact that the Sheikh who led the prayers is one of the most eminent scholars, one of the most schooled, vastly read scholars. Ustad Harith, we call him Ustad Harith. I think right now in Mombasa, or in the coastal Eastern African coast, we look at our scholarships regionally. I do not think there is a scholar in this region or this belt that beats him in terms of his scholarship. He literally pleaded that they stay as one and have love amongst each other and resolve whatever it is amicably. And I think my hope is that they will do it. Because I know quite a number of the brothers and sisters, and my hope and my prayer is that they will march strong. Okay.
For the sake of TSS's legacy, we do hope that everything works out fine as far as the family is concerned. Now, of course, the NASA debate and what happened yesterday is the top headline this morning on all the front pages. We'll be discussing that in the next hour so that you can have the other gentlemen join us. But before that, President Barack Obama of the U.S. gave his farewell speech yesterday. A very moving speech, and there were tears, and probably Lillian Moodley did that story, and she had a few
Michelle something
yes,
and a tear.
If we could have that story by Lillian Moodley, so that gentlemen can get a chance to comment on that as well.
An emotional Barack Obama wiped away tears with a white handkerchief, his voice quaking as he paid tribute to his wife.
Michelle, Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, girl of the South Side. For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend. You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor. You made the White House a place that belongs to everybody.
His message to Michelle drew the most thunderous applause of the night. A tearful Obama continued to thank his daughters Malia and Sasha, who literally grew up in the White House but will now be leaving as young women.
Malia and Sasha, under the strangest of circumstances, you have become two amazing young women. You are smart and you are beautiful, but more importantly, you are kind and you are thoughtful and you are full of passion. And you wore the burden of years in the spotlight so easily. Of all that I have done in my life, I am most proud to be your dad.
The crowd of 18,000 cheered on as Obama dabbed his eyes as he saluted his Vice President, Joe Biden.
To Joe Biden, you were the first decision I made as a nominee, and it was the best. Not just because you have been a great Vice President, but because in the bargain I gained a brother.
The outgoing president called on Americans to attempt more reconciliation. He asked his supporters not to lose faith in change and progress.
I'm asking you to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you.
Afterward, Michelle Obama and her elder daughter Malia joined the president on stage, along with Vice President Joe Biden and his wife Jill. Lillian Mooley, Citizen TV.
Yes, that story by Lillian Mooley is what we want to discuss now. And as that story played, we were joined by Senator Boni Khalwale from Kakamega. Karibu sana. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you.
Good morning. It's good to have you here. I'm sure probably traffic in January traffic gets a bit tough, but you do understand. It's good to have you here finally. Just before we went into that story about Barack Obama's final speech, of course we discussed about Senator Hassan Omar's absence from the Bomas meeting yesterday, and he explained where he was, and we were talking about the funeral that took place in Mombasa yesterday as they laid to rest on the TSS. But now let's move on to the speech by Barack Obama. It is an election year in Kenya, and we can draw parallels with what is happening in some of these democracies. And when we see a leader like Barack Obama giving a final speech 9 days before he exits the White House, of course it's something that probably even us, we should look forward to. I don't know if we've ever had a chance where any of our leaders who's exiting has given a final goodbye speech in such a manner in front of a huge crowd. Probably Senator Khalwale, that could be your first comment this morning.
Allow me to apologize to the supporters of Omar Hassan that I forgot to apologize on his behalf. Yesterday when I was addressing the meeting, he had asked me to give his apologies. I was aware that he was attending the funeral of his friend and my friend, TSS. I had worked in Mombasa for 6 years.
He started his career. He worked at the Potteries
as a doctor. So he represented us there, whereas I was expected to represent him here in Nairobi. Yes, those are 18,000 people that Obama is talking to, and how I wish African leaders would go this way. People should look at exiting the stage as being as important as entering the stage. African leaders, the moment they mount the stage of being the leader, then he wants to die there. See, for example, in Kenya what's happening. These attempts to amend electoral laws using unjust means, unconstitutional means, illegal means, is an attempt to perpetuate. Given a chance, thank God we are going to defeat them. If we don't defeat Jubilee.
Are you suggesting that the president is looking to extend his term beyond the 2 terms that is guaranteed by the Constitution?
Yes, that's where I was headed. that if we were to fail to stop them, they would use the same brute force to amend the constitution to remove term limits.
That's a strong accusation. Well, a very strong claim. We're talking about transition.
It's not strong. It's wild. I mean, because it's not based on anything. I mean, nobody wants to remove any term limits. We in Jubilee respect the law. That's actually why we have been faithful to what Senator Boni Halwale and his team in that joint committee did. They passed a law. They voted for the law. It was adopted. We made it better and good. The elections were fixed by the Constitution, and we have stood for that date. And we had to smoothen and fast-track this process to ensure that elections happen. So, for trying to make in for their unpreparedness, for their inadequacies, for their inability to unite. And, you know, I know we are really going to this main story. And I don't want to go there because I have a lot there.
But probably comment on the kind of transition that you're seeing in the US. Because even him was just addressing that, the difference in the way they transit.
When that was playing out in my mind, I was replaying the scenes in 2002. When President Moi was leaving office, and the stones that were thrown at him and the insults, including human waste by some people, and again the slipping away of President Kibaki from power, and I think we must embrace true democracy. We must mature in our politics, because when we see what Barack Obama was doing, I also watched sometimes back the farewell speech by Bill Clinton, and you see, these people have the opportunity to celebrate not only change but achievement, and also the transition. And you know, there has been a lot of debate about Donald Trump and what he will do and how he won and why did he win. But you know, the strongest point to my mind on that is, indeed, these guys try to stay at least as true as they can to democracy. Because with all the antis and all the odds of Trump's election, still they are able to say, hand over power to this man. And then let's see what he can do. And now that he has won, in spite, let us support him. You know, and I think this must be a message that we must adapt. You know, in yesterday's cartoon, no, on Tuesday's cartoon, in the Daily Nation, you saw that cartoon that where a red carpet was being rolled out, and Robert Mugabe was following their thing that he's going to be running for re-election again, and that is sad news. It's sad news for Africa.
Senator Hassan Omar, of course, an opportunity for Barack Obama to actually list the kind of achievements that he made in the 2 terms that he was president. Is it something that we are looking forward to seeing in Kenya at any point in the near future?
The whole idea of a farewell address was a tradition started by the first founding president of the United States, George Washington. The whole idea of the final address is to ensure that America remains an autarky. I mean, a democracy rather than an autarky or a monarchy. You know, George Washington had actually been told to be king at the time when the federation was born. So they set the country to a strong tradition. African leaders have set this tradition of always trying to extend their terms. You come in with such great anxiety and expectations that then you just realize that you know, get some kind of a bug, the African bug, and before you realize you are now becoming the same despot. There's literally a template that people is of general standing or general expectations. That's why the few African leaders who've done anything worth writing home about are fairly outstanding. Great public intellectuals who became leaders: Nelson Mandela, Biogama Pinto, Amilcar Cabral, Samora Machel, you know, and many others, Mwalimu Nyerere, and our young friend who died very young, Thomas Sankara. You know, there was great achievement, and I think there's that place for immortality, which many African leaders do not see. You know, there's that place for an assistant Mandela, for another African statesman, Pan-Africanist. Today I'm putting on a Pan-Africanist badge. I didn't realize that there's the Pan-African movement. It's quite strong, and it has its economic, you know, representative in actually in Mombasa. So I think it is important for us to start these renaissance of Africa in a manner that is meaningful. These things are not alien to us. You know, there are no values for Africans and values for non-Africans. There are no values for you know, basic standards of human decency and dignity for the West and that for Africa. I think we must have a basic standard. Our people right now, this is the new frontier. Our people are you know, live in poverty, biting poverty. We excite the expectations only on account of, and mobilize them on account of ethnicity, only to take them back to where that never see that promised land. So I think we have an opportunity, especially as young leaders in Africa, to steer away from corruption, to steer away, to demonstrate a belief system in your politics, to focus on the people, and I think there's that rebirth, there's that birth or rebirth of an African leadership that is more forward-looking, and there's a generation out there. I think that's the last bastion of frontier, Robert Mugabe and the rest of them. I hope time will run them out.
And of course, when Obama was entering the stage to make his final speech, there were a chance of 4 more years, and he said, of course I can't do that. But in Africa, it seems like whenever a president is just about to exit, everyone is really tired of this individual, and we're just waiting for him to disappear and the next one to come in. Let's now take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss other issues, including the doctor's strike that's now on its 38th day. IEBC commissioners are vetting by the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee ended yesterday. Now we await approval by the House, then probably appointment next week in time for the voter registration exercise, which kicks off on Monday, as well as discuss the main headline for the day, and has to do with the NASA meeting yesterday. That when Power Breakfast returns.